Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. I like to start by saying this is for entertainment purpose only, and this is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. I'd love to thank my subscribers, viewers. I hope everyone has a pleasant week. I've been researching lately a lot in mental health and about mental health. So I decided to study a bit about snow vision. Snow vision is a condition that Brian Christopher Koberger has, allegedly. That's one of the conditions we know. We know that he suffers of OCD too, and usually snow vision is linked to OCD. People who have snow vision usually have the stress levels, the anxiety is quite high. They dissociate with people. I would say they try to avoid being with crowds or with people. Detachment, basically. They have a detachment from their thoughts, feelings, and sensations. They have this out-of-body experience where they kind of feel like they're not themselves, that they are outside watching themselves, basically. I don't feel real. It's a very often thing you hear from people with this condition. It's called depersonalization. The reason I started reading about depersonalization is when I went into snow vision, it did speak a lot about people with snow vision suffer of anxiety, depression, depersonalization, dissociations. All these things are actually part of snow vision. So snow vision is a mental health illness, kind of, because it does come with detaching yourself from people. It comes with your thoughts. Basically, they're not detached from their thoughts, feelings, and sensations. They suffer a high level of anxiety. Their symptoms are that they don't feel real. You hear them say that all the time. They feel like they're looking at themselves from the outside. They're detached from their own bodies and sensation and mind. So I was searching more about the snow vision condition. It can be genetic, or it can be something that is developed later in life. There isn't much studies out there about snow vision, but it's kind of strange because it comes under the treatment, and the therapy they usually get is under CBT or psychology, because they're detached from their thoughts, and that is cognitive. So they have to basically find a way to attach themselves back to their thoughts, if that makes sense, and their feelings and sensations. So they do have kind of an episode, not a psychosis episode like schizophrenia, but they have their own kind of episode that these feelings come along, that they're detached from the thoughts, feelings, and sensation. Now, I try to check about if people with snow vision and this, especially disorder depersonalization, if they can control the anger and temper. Because I was thinking about in this case, one thing I want to say clearly to start with is I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm a mental health counselor. I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm just trying to explain to you all what I've been studying and researching about Brian Christopher Koberger's condition, because that is a fact that he suffers of vision, snow vision, and snow vision brings depersonalization and it brings OCD, and that is what he's suffering of, and anxiety and depression. So I was thinking about even researching deeper if the person who has snow vision and this condition could actually drive late at night. And I found it very interesting because they said that everything is kind of foggy for them. It's like blur for them. Apparently, depersonalization and derealization disorders, they're called DDD, is a mental health disorder. And it is formally known as depersonalization disorder. I'm not saying that is what Brian Koberger suffers of. But what is strange is that people who suffer of snow vision usually, very often have depersonalization. Depersonalization, does actually bring anxiety and depression. It brings even insomnia. So when Brian Koberger was saying, I like to drive out late at night, I personally believe that it could be because of this disorder that he needs to get fresh air and such things. But I'm not saying that is what he did that night, that his alibi was right. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that we have to try and study snow vision and whatever it brings along. That is not diagnosing anyone, and this is for fair use purpose. This is just about idea of what Brian Christopher Koberger could have been going through. Coming back to depersonalization, when a person suffers of it, it is kind of everything is blurry and foggy for them, just like snow vision. They're out of their thoughts and body. That's what they feel. So they feel like they're looking at themselves from the outside, they're looking at themselves. And that brings a lot of anxiety and depression. So you can imagine when people suffer of anxiety and panic attacks, I'm sure most of us have experienced that. And having this condition, it doesn't make it any easier. And they can have these episodes of depersonalization anytime, a day or night. So I was wondering if Brian Christopher Koberger drove to the girl's house, did this crime, walked down a couple of steps. Let's not forget, he went up to the girl's room, allegedly came down the steps, saw Dylan, or he didn't see Dylan, he went to Xana. Unfortunately, he unlived Xana and E. And then he came back, and that's the time allegedly Dylan saw him. So I was wondering if he did it, was he having a depersonalization? I wouldn't want to call it episode, but something like that. Was he literally out of his brains? Like, was he out of his mind? And in this situation, when they're having these episodes, it's not like they can control it. They just have to learn how to handle it. And it's really a sad, really sad disorder, DDD. So I was wondering a lot about, in a way, let me start with why I feel like Brian Christopher Koberger could have done it if he had this disorder. I'm just saying this is my thoughts, speculations, but when I'm talking about the mental health, it is a fact. You can go check DDD and what it stands for. The reason I connected DDD with snow vision is because if you go and research it, they're very connected. And anxiety and OCD. Brian suffers of OCD, that we know. He suffers of snow vision, that we know. We know that his mental health and physical health records are on gag order. Strangely enough, people who suffer of depersonalization can sometimes be on the autism spectrum. And I've heard many people discussing about if Brian Koberger has autism. These people people who have depersonalization and snow vision and all, they function 110% well, maybe even better than us. But it's just that they're sad that it's sad that they're stuck in a situation for a couple of minutes or few hours that they can't get out of. So usually we recommend people with DDD to come to mental health. They'll be assessed by therapy and a therapist, a counselor, and they'll be assessed by a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist gives his evaluation. He evaluates. So he will check the list of how many things a person has before it is diagnosed. Once again, I'm not saying that BK has DDD, but I'm saying snow vision is very connected to depersonalization and derealization disorder. It's called DDD. And it has serious depression, anxiety with it, and OCD, obsessive disorder. So my question when it comes to Brian is, if he was under this condition, I can actually see him doing it because it brings a lot of anger too. He could have lashed out. It's not all people who have these conditions that lash out. Some people know how to monitor and control themselves in the situation, and some people have a hard time accepting that they have this condition and working on it. So if he did this crime, he could have easily had one of these episodes. And we know that Brian allegedly has written about depression and all that, and how he felt. He said he feels like an empty sack and he feels like his family is his family, but he doesn't feel like any attachment to them. He even speaks about his father. He says he's a good man, but like basically he's having these experiences, and it is really strange. People with DDD have a hard time working with their thoughts. It affects them seriously with their thoughts, decision making. The anxiety is triggered up when they are when they're having these symptoms, basically. It can make them feel bad. It can make them feel not real. It's like an out-of-body experience that basically they're having. And the causes can be genetic, like I said. Research is still going on about it. So I wouldn't know exactly what is the causes of it. Symptoms are strong, like I told you, anxiety, depression, depersonalization, all of them come along with it. OCD, and I'm talking about not being just anxious, I'm talking about serious anxiety. So people who suffer of this condition usually need therapy, and they usually actually go and see a CBT therapist or psychologist or someone in this department, because the branch I work in, cognitive behavior therapy, is mental health is something I fell in love with from the start, honestly. And I believe it's helped me a lot. It's helped me to organize myself, to understand not to stress. Life is too short. It's not worth stressing. It's taught me how to get to know my thoughts better, how to control myself in situations, like let things go, like get to know my thoughts basically, because cognitive behavior therapy is about cognitive your thoughts. Then you have your feelings, and then you have your behavior. In CBT was the founder was Aaron Beck from Pennsylvania University. May he rest in peace. I believe he brought something beautiful to the world that has really helped us. It is scientifically proven that CBT is the best therapy. in CBT, it's not like you're sitting on a psychologist's sofa, lying down, sitting and talking, or such things. In CBT, there is control. Not control, but I mean there is control in our sessions. We let the person talk. We take, just say, 2 topics, because you have 50 minutes. Not much can be done in 50 minutes. So we ask our clients, we call them clients, not patients, to choose the topics that they want to talk about. So just say, they can say, my marriage is really in trouble. I'm on my way to divorce. We're on our way to divorce each other. Or they could say, I'm homeless. I got eviction. And they could say, I'm having family problems. Now that is 3. So I would advise the person, which one would you rather work on first? Which is the one that is bothering you most? And they can say, maybe just say, they could say that my marriage. But then that, I do couples counseling too. But then that would be like, you have a session with the person, a one-to-one talk, because it's a talking therapy. And then after maybe 2-3 sessions, if the person is husband or partner is ready to engage in the CBT counseling, then he would come, we would talk to both of them together, and then we'll have separate sessions with each one, maybe two sessions in, and then we bring them back together, and then we see how it went through the couple of sessions they have. Many people have found their love back or decided not to divorce, and some people decided to divorce in a respectful way because they have children, to keep their children safe and to have a healthy divorce or a healthy marriage. So counseling is advised. I've heard many people say, oh, why would I go to a counselor and why would I tell a stranger my problems? That's what I used to think before I took this career. I believe counseling, CBT I'm not recommended because I'm a therapist, CBT therapist, but as a mental health counselor, I love CBT because I believe CBT is straightforward. We deal with, it's like a triangle, cognitive behavior therapy. We ask people and we train our clients, or we help our clients by giving them CBT techniques and homework for the next session. We explain to them that if you deal with your cognitive, your thoughts, automatically your feelings get better, and then your behavior gets better. But if you come with negative thoughts, it's going to affect your feelings. You're going to be depressed. You'll have anxiety. It'll trigger up things. And then your behavior could be terrible. You could end up deciding not to socialize with people and be home and be depressed, which is not good. Or you may decide to take actions in you may decide to take action by yourself and hit someone, lash out, or be rude to someone. And people come to CBT because they have an issue and they want to deal with it, like anger management. Some people are sent by the court. It's what's called, it becomes a mandatory thing for them. They can't decide. They have to come to CBT. That's if the court has sent them. Then there are some people that come for addiction, many people. And some people want to change, they try. But it is something that it's a commitment that you have to give time to CBT. If you're under CBT therapy, many people find it useful because it really does help with anxiety, depression, panic attacks, DDD, depersonalization. It helps with all kind of mental health illnesses like schizophrenia, bipolar, antisocial personality disorder, narcissism, many things, domestic violence. All those things come under our therapy and it comes under counseling. But people prefer to go to CBT because CBT is scientifically proven. We deal with depression, we deal with anxiety. If you go to other methods of counseling like psychology, which is beautiful, integrative counseling. All of them have their benefits, but I believe, and I've heard from many people, that CBT is good for anxiety and depression, because we deal a lot with anxiety, depression, the techniques for them. We get even people who want to unalive themselves. We try to talk to them. So there's a lot that goes on in therapy. So coming back to Mr. Brian Christopher Koberger, I'm starting to believe, I don't know if he did it or not, but I'm starting to believe that this condition really affected him. So my question is, if you have snow vision, that's what I was studying. If you have snow vision, it's going to be blurry for him to climb up steps. Why would someone with snow vision who's seeing foggy and blurry go to a house and unalive 4 people? How did that happen? Another thing that I find interesting is some drugs are also known to bring DDD. They bring similar effects like DDD. It can be many different kind of drugs that do that. So if Brian Christopher Koberger was using heroin, the chances is he could have got DDD from there, depersonalization. And that brings snow vision, and that brings OCD. So we know he has snow vision, we know he has OCD. So I found this to be really interesting. I was thinking of maybe sharing this with y'all. Let me know what y'all think, because depersonalization is actually something that is real. People suffer with it every day. We don't know about the statistic about how many people suffer with it, because some people are misdiagnosed. But there's always a treatment of depersonalization. They have the treatment, but before the treatment, obviously therapy has to come, and the psychiatrist's evaluation. So I'm sure they treat people with DDD for anxiety, definitely. All these diagnoses that you see in mental health usually come with anxiety and come with depression. So what we do is we try to check the level of anxiety the person is going through, and then that's how we do therapy and try and check. Like, just say the person came the first time and you ask them how high is the anxiety out of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, they could say 8 or 9, and just say after they're finished with the 12 sessions of CBT, when you do the test again, their depression or anxiety could have gone from 8 to 1. And that is beautiful. So it's important for them to monitor themselves, continue doing the CBT techniques. It does help, because if you reduce your anxiety and your depression, I'm sure they won't be triggered up and get the DDD, serious symptoms. So causes can be drugs, causes can be genetic, many different things can bring DDD. Snow vision is strange, because when I tried to research snow vision, it directed me directly to DDD. And then we have this basically snow vision, this disorder that Brian has. And I wonder, when he went and did it, could he have been having some kind of episode? Because we don't know what he has. We have heard snow vision, we've heard OCD, and snow vision comes, depersonalization comes with snow vision. So I wonder, how much could he see? What was his motive to go to that house? Why would he go to a house full of 5 girls, a dog? He was there. His friends could have been there. Guys from the Sigma guy could have been there. Many people could have been there. So what made Brian just give up everything, his future, his education, everything? Is it because he was saying things like, I don't feel like living. He did actually say that in the essay he wrote, or not essay, whatever he wrote that was on Twitter. He spoke about his depression, and it looked like it was really bothering him. So I wonder if he thought my life has been messed up, so just take these people's life. Some people do think like that, allegedly. So I'm saying, I don't know why, if you did it, you did it, because you can't see any motive for him to have gone all the way to Moscow, Idaho, to do this. Why would you do this to 4 innocent people? Unless he's suffering of a serious mental illness, and maybe he tried to check one of the girls and they called him a loser or something. That is possible. Because the way I am trying to think about this case is, I said from the start, I don't want to leave one stone unturned, but I decided always to take Brian last, because I want to see what is going on, the whole circus, before I make my decision with Brian for myself. And I know most of my subscribers, we have the same, we have the same intentions to find out the truth. We want justice for these victims. And the good thing about my subscribers is we actually think alike. Most of us. We are not, I don't believe I'm a, I don't believe I'm a drama channel. I have a lot of respect. I believe in respecting people. I try not to attack victims or the victims' families or people involved in this case. Yes, I speculate. Yes, I analyze the grub truck. Yes, I analyze Banfield. I'm not going to stop with that. The reason I won't stop is this needs to be exposed. Even if I have to make 20 videos of Banfield, I will do it. And the grub truck. Because in Banfield, you have evidence of a female crying, "Stop it, stop it, stop." And that is when the last call was made to Jack D. We've been seeing how the 2 girls were treated in the grub truck. They were under surveillance. Whether it was from friends, enemies, people they work with, illegal business, legal business, I don't know what it is, but there's something fishy about the grub truck, and they all know each other. Joe Vito knows everything. That Coca-Cola can, I'm starting to really believe, like many people said that there could be a camera in it. I won't be surprised. Nothing in this case is going to surprise me anymore. Nothing in this case is going to surprise me. But I really believe that Brian Christopher Kohlberger, when he was doing his research and searching for someone to help, like when he was searching for candidates, I really believe that he got candidates from the Sigma Chi or the fraternities. The reason I keep on saying the fraternities is I'm not like Watt's obsession. I'm not going to work with the Sigma Chi boys. She says she's a therapist just like me. She has some she's an occupational therapist. I don't know what she does. She's not a mental health therapist. But if she is a therapist, she should know better than not to interfere with the active case. Whether it's Hunter Johnson or whether it's the Sigma Chi boys. She's trying to correct me by saying Hunter Johnson. It doesn't matter. There's a 911 call that we want to hear that is under gag order. So when people YouTube creators start bringing Sigma Chi and sororities in this mix, obviously when their creators are getting gossip and news from the fraternity boys like Watts says, because Watts said I'm friends with them. So if she's getting, imagine how much she takes back to them. That is illegal. And I don't want anyone working with the fraternities or sororities because for the sake of Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and E. I know that Xana and E were at the party lost. Their timeline is being hidden because something happened to those 2 first. The fraternity boys know about it, so I don't understand why YouTube creators are interfering and supporting these people. The fraternities and sororities that you talk to need to come clean. Thank God that the grub truck, thank God the Banfield was put out. The police should have investigated it. The whole videos, they should watch it before they put it out. That was a shame. That I can say. And that is my opinion. This whole case was mishandled. It was done unprofessional. The timeline was changed. What's her name? Dylan changed her statements basically. Because at the start, she was sleeping downstairs. Later on, she was sleeping upstairs. Many things was going on that night. That's the reason it upsets me to see people, grown people, talking to the sororities. That's not right. And that's not okay. Going back to this case, there is so much that is out of order, really out of order. Students were sent home for Thanksgiving. How can we know that those students weren't involved? I know it's becoming kind of like a reputation to repeat it, but it is the truth. Where is the 3 unidentified male DNAs? Did they swallow it? Where is it? There was a handprint on the Good Vibes wall, on the Good Vibes frame. I believe somebody had a fight there and their hand went on the wall, on the Good Vibes. If Brian Christopher Koberger is suffering of snow vision, he would have seen very blurry. He wouldn't have seen things. He could have drived, but if he got kind of the episode of fit, everything turns blurry for him. He's having experience that he's out of his body, looking back at himself. So this is serious. I personally think that he suffers of depersonalization because he has snow vision, OCD, anxiety. They all come together, and depression. And it's very possible if he suffers of it, and he spoke about his depression and said he feels empty, he feels like a sack of meat. He said many things about his depression. If he was going through that, and maybe he was going through something like he wanted to unalive himself, maybe he thought before, like, you studied law, so just unlike people. I don't understand. Or maybe he has a more serious condition. I'm not saying people with conditions end up, mental health conditions, end up unaliving people. That's not what I'm saying. But since Brian Christopher Koberg has been accused, and since we know he suffers of snow vision, I started researching snow vision and DDD. Depersonalization comes very often with snow vision. My question is, there's a possibility, very good chance, I've always said that Brian Christopher Koberger did it. His knife sheath being lying there is no joke. Somebody could have planted it, definitely, but there's too many coincidences of Brian that he can't lie about. If he had a proper alibi, people would have understood it. Something is not right. But I believe that there are more people involved. Or maybe he came late on, they tried to frame him. But I would have started with, if I was Ann Taylor, she started with the grub truck, Banfield, Corner Club. Unfortunately, we can't see, but I'm sure many things happened there. Look at Maddie's jacket lying in the bushes. Ann Taylor needs to see such things. I hope she's following things that are going on, because this isn't right. We want justice. We want the correct justice. And I really do believe Brian Christopher Koberger suffers of mental health illnesses. I don't know which mental health illnesses, but it's not what I see, it's what I read about him. Some things could be false, but things that he put out himself, like his research, tells you his mindset. It really does tell you that he's out for something else. Because research, for us, we were controlled in the university. We were controlled by what research he can write. the professors in the university have to sit, have a meeting, discuss the topics everyone wants to take, and they decide if it's okay. Mostly it is okay. But when we used to do research, the people we used to interview, and people wanted to interview, it could be my family, but mostly I used to take students. We were like 55 students, but we were only 20 that were learning. No, 18 that were learning CBT. The rest was learning psychodynamic and integrative counseling. So what I used to do is when I used to have research, I would do it with someone in psychodynamic or someone in CBT. My best friend was in CBT. So we used to use our own college people, our own now, basically now all of them are counselors. So we used to use our own counselors, and we used to use our teachers even. We used to interview them. So this is kind of strange that he took his research to Reddit, and this was a serious research asking people, how do you feel after you've unlived someone? Did you prepare yourself? Did you do that? Did you do this? It doesn't sound right. So it's very possible that Brian, his depression, DDD, the depersonalization, took the best of him. If he wasn't having a proper diet, if he's suffering of insomnia, snow vision, OCD, those things, snow vision, OCD, and depression, he said himself. So this is really sad. I hope they find exactly what happened, and I still believe that either Brian could be innocent and somebody called him there to frame him because there was no blood, let's not forget that, or Brian is involved with other people. That I strongly believe. He could have been the man who organized it, and they could have been the fraternities who did it. Exactly like the guy who called in T-Rev's show. His name is Dave, if you'll remember. I just have that feeling that was Brian. Although many people say saw Brian's voice. It sounds like Brian, and it sounds like something he would do. Because he was telling T-Rev about people. He was telling T-Rev about the fraternity boys 10 years ago from Utah. Utah asked him for help and he helped them. No, they asked him for help, advice, that if you're going to unlive someone, how would you do it? He says all those things. So if that Dave who called T-Rev was telling the truth, then it's strange. It is really strange. It could have been him. Papa Rogers could have been him, because honestly, Papa Rogers knew too much about this game. It was no coincidence. He knew a lot. He was trying to play this game with people, but he seemed to know a lot. He spoke about the knife sheet belt before the police even mentioned that there was a knife sheet. So who was Papa Rogers? Papa Rogers disappeared when Brian disappeared. So the police will have a lot of evidence on him from his data and what he was talking to people about. Anyway, guys, when it comes to mental health, anxiety, depression, everything is part of mental health, and it is important that people look after themselves, look after their anxiety level, stress level, panic, such things. It's important to have a healthy diet, to look after yourselves, look after your family, but it's really important that we look after our mental health, because physical health is something that when we get a small pain, or when we have a chest infection or anything, we run to the doctors, we get antibiotics. But when it comes to mental health, it's really little awareness out there, and it's sad, because mental health is becoming a serious issue. It's becoming a serious issue in this world that is being ignored, and that's not right. So when it comes to anxiety, write in a journal, make yourself a journal, write what you feel every day, and when you were, example, when you were feeling depressed, what were you doing before that? What were you doing after that? All that. It does help. So then you can see later on at the end of the week how your Monday was. Maybe it was bad. Maybe Wednesday was good because you went out. And for a person who's depressed, they don't like to socialize. So that is a bingo. That's a good point. So such things are important. Meditation, yoga, prayers, maybe. Like, it depends what people feel comfortable with. When I'm stressed out, I like to pray because it calms me down. It reminds me of the good side of life. It reminds me that it's important from God's side to treat your fellow neighbor, your friend, the person outside, someone you don't know, a stranger, treat them with respect, give charity. It reminds you many things because you have to count your blessings and remember them and thank God for them. That's what I personally believe. And I'm in a month of, if you're wondering why I'm wearing my scarf, and this is called abaya that I'm wearing. It's a long black top. The reason I'm wearing this is it's the Ramadan for us. Many people know about Islam. In Ramadan, this is the time, this month is a holy month for us. The whole 30 days we're supposed to fast, break our fast around 6, 7 o'clock. It is kind of, I wouldn't say difficult, thank God, but because it's not that hot, so you don't get thirsty so quickly. But it's a time of doing a self-reflection of yourself. In Islam, it makes us think that life is short. You're here for a purpose. Be good to each other. Pay charity. Help each other. Do good for the society. Pray your 5 times. Because every time I pray my 5 times, I feel like it gives me peace. Because when I'm bending down and praying, it's kind of an exercise. So you're getting 5 times a day if you're lazy. And I'm lazy at times, a lot of times. I get exercise by doing my salah, doing my prayers 5 times a day. It helps you to be clean, hygienic, because you're supposed to wash your hands, wash your face, wash your legs, wash everything, and then you pray. So it's about cleanliness, it's about doing exercise, and it's about your mental health, because you get peace. Many people say that. I do get peace in myself when religion, any kind of religion, I respect all religion. And I see sometimes I would read my book and then, like, if I want to, I would read maybe even the Bible and I feel like religion can give you peace at times. And I believe it's like peace in troubled times. Right now, there's so much going on in life. There's so much action. There's so much violence. Teenagers are running around in UK with machetes. I hate to say that. Many things are happening. So it's like, I take Ramadan and I take Islam as my self-reflection, and CBT, because CBT is about self-reflection. I get my self-reflection with my religion because it reminds me. Give charity. Help other people. Check on your mother. Check on your neighbor who's an old lady. Ask her if she needs a bit help with her shopping. Such things are just supposed to be blessings. And you feel good when you do something good for someone. So that is the reason I'm wearing my hijab. Now it's been 16 days of Ramadan. We have another 14 days to go. And it's interesting, Ramadan will be around, Eid will be around the 9th or 10th of April. And that is when we have, apparently, what is it called? The total eclipse. And it comes once in 70 years. So it's going to be interesting this year. And I'd love to see the eclipse. I heard I don't think it'll be much in our area. I think more, I was hearing Ohio and those sides in United States and some other places, I'm sure. So I need to research that too, because it's beautiful to see an eclipse. And this one is supposed to last for minutes, not seconds. So it's going to be a very interesting month, a peaceful month. That's why I haven't been making so much clips. But now I've started again because I don't want What I want is I want this case to be solved. I believe that we owe it to these 4 students. Let's be honest, these 4 students were attacked. They had no help. It's so sad to think about it. When I look at the grub truck, I often look at it and I just feel so sorry. I look at them, I always say, God bless them, God help them. May God grant them peace and heaven. Because it's so sad, 20 years old. My son is 19. Imagine you send your child to college and your child comes back in a box. That is unfair for anyone. And I think they deserve their justice. I believe this was a big setup, and I don't think Brian Koberger is getting the right justice. If there was nothing to hide, what are they hiding? I've never seen a case like this 24/7 on gag orders. This man is entitled to move his case to another seat. It's biased. All the people in Moscow either know each other, from the chief to the dean of the university to Scott of the university, who lived there apparently in 1122 Kings Road. And what about the people who own the house? Who would gift a house that is worth $500,000? Were they scared that they would get investigated because the FBI and all was involved? Did they just give out the house so that nothing comes back to them? What about Kaylee's Linden account? Who put it off at 11:30 at night? 9 hours after they died. Who was playing around with Kaylee's Linden account? All these things are interesting, concerning, and worrying because we haven't got an answer for them. What about what's her name? His father, Xana's father. He said clearly he spoke to his daughter at midnight and she said she was going to be at home. She was chilling at home. I personally believe that Xana and E got attacked at home or near the house. As to the 2 surviving roommates, I wish them well, but I'm waiting for the court. I would love to see what they say about the 8 hours gap. That's going to be interesting. Anyway, guys, have a lovely day. Enjoy yourselves. Look after your mental health. Look after your physical health. And look after yourselves. Peace be with you all. I'll see you all soon. Bye.